The claim of a link between real-world violence and playing violent video games comes up every time there's a school shooting or some other unfortunate but very rare event. It's argued with great passion and conviction, but with very little data, to back up the claim that using violent media makes the average person more violent. One of the things researchers do when they're trying to figure out problems like this is to look for similar patterns in other situations. In other words, have we seen this type of fear and concern before? Well, we have. In fact, we have a long history of so-called moral panics every time a new medium is introduced that's attractive to teenagers and is something their parents didn't grow up with. In the 1950s, grave concerns about crime comic books led to similarly impassioned claims about their effects on young readers. There were even hearings on the topic in the U.S. Senate. Today, these comics are collector's items. In the 1930s, there was an international uproar over how gangster films would lead teenagers into a life of crime. It never happened, of course. And today, many of these films are considered classics. And even in the late 19th century, parents, politicians, and pundits were afraid of the effects of a new medium on the moral virtues and behaviors of teenagers, especially teenage girls. That new medium? The paperback novel. Does this mean that violent video games have nothing to do with real-world violence? No. But it does mean that it isn't a simple relationship, especially since most teenagers today play violent video games and don't have behavioral problems. The real challenge is for researchers to figure out how different patterns of play might tell us which children we should be concerned about. I'm Dr. Richard Falzone.